So here we go again, talking patterns. This time we're on Dan Gun. It's the same as we did for Chun-Ji. It's talk through. This is Dan Gun. It's the second pattern you learn. Yellow tag to yellow belt, 21 movements, a few interesting parts. So let's get into it. First movement, knife hand guarding block. So it's L stance knife hand guarding block. Fingertips are shoulder high on the lead hand. The reaction hand is in front of the... I've heard two stories on this. I've heard in front of the chest and I've heard in front of the badge. The badge line or the center line. I've heard two tales on that. So I'll leave that one out to the audience to decide what they want to call on it. It seems to change, but for me, this one looks like it's sort of center line there. But that's not too important. Anyway, let's keep going. So this is high section punch in walking stance. And like I said last time in Chun-Ji, this one is probably the same. The shoulders are a bit too turned. It needs to be center line, and the knuckles are eye level. That makes it high punch because it's above the shoulder line. Walking stance, again, nothing mad about that. It's shoulder and a half long, shoulder width wide, front leg bent, back leg straight, 25 degrees on the back foot. Okay, next we move clockwise. And we make knife hand guarding block again. It's L stance, knife hand guarding block. Fingertips are shoulder high. L stance, 15 degrees at the feet, both legs bent, 70% of the weight in the back leg, 30% on the front leg. It's shoulder and a half long from back heel to big toe. Yeah, okay. Stepping forward, high punch. Again, it's the same as before. It's walking stance. I'm just going to keep going. So this is low outer forearm block, much like the step you learn in Chun-Ji. The same things apply. You keep the hip in position until you want to turn. So don't turn the hip before you make the block. Don't turn too early. So you really create that rotational force as you move through the block. Ready position for low outer forearm block is back to back, blocking hand on top. And the block finishes lower side abdomen in front of the chest. Next, we have high punches, 3 of them. And walking stance. So high section, fingertips are eye level, reaction hand side of the hip. You can see again my shoulders are slightly turned a little bit here. Should be centered, should be squared off a little bit more. And one of the key things to do here through these 3 high punches is to really relax through the sine wave in the 3 of them. Just as you go, you have this down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. You have this real nice contrast. You have loads of time here to take the contrast, or to bring out the contrast in the sine wave and the sort of the relax and then the tension. You should really show this off and really exaggerate it a bit when you're training it to sort of make it a little bit more crispy, a little bit sharper. Okay, next. So everyone's favorite Sang Palmok Magki. This is twin forearm block, twin outer forearm block. Parallel lines is the order of the day here. We want to try and create parallel lines with the 2 arms. This isn't too bad for me. The L stance is probably a tiny bit short in this one. When we make Sang Palmok Magki, both hands face up in preparation, and it starts on the chest line, as far as I'm aware, on the chest line or in the center line, the chest line, that area, just relaxed, shoulders relaxed, no tension, both hands facing up, middle block on top, rising block underneath. And they accelerate out. The L stance, like I said, is a bit short in my one, and if you really sit down into this block, you can create a lot of power with it. It's kind of nice. But the common mistakes we see are the hands going the wrong way. The middle block is high and the high block is low. But everyone does that. It's just part of the game. You just have to get on with it, and it'll come good for you, I promise. Okay, next, stepping forward, sine wave, high punch again. All the punches in Dan Gun are high section, so there's no real memory here. They should all be above the shoulder line. This is a walking stance again. There's nothing there that you need to really address any further. We go clockwise. Sang Palmok Magki. You can see again the L stance is probably a tiny bit short. It's not the worst, but it's still a tiny bit short. Blocking tool is over the head, and the tool is the outer forearm. The rising block. Sorry, there's 2 blocking tools here. The primary block is the middle block. The secondary block is the rising block. But in the rising block, we have the outer forearm over the head. And in the middle block, it's outer forearm in line with the shoulder, center of the shoulder. Okay, let's plow on. High punch. And again, you have that reaction hand. So it's not just stepping forward and sticking the hand out. We step forward, we push the reaction hand out in front as we pull the punching hand to the hip, and we get this kind of backward motion at the top of the sine wave and release the punch there. And that's walking stance high punch. Okay, everyone's favorite part, right? This is continuous motion. It's low block and it's rising block. Let's look at the low block first. So again, the preparation is back to back. We turn and we create, the hip rotates and we turn one, and it's continuous breathing. So it's this continuous breath. So it was described to me as 1 inhale, 2 exhales, 2 full sine waves. So we have this connecting breath, this kind of that connects the two techniques in what we call continuous motion. 1 inhale, 2 exhales, 2 full sine waves. So you see the first block there, 1, and it's a full sine wave here. Down, up, down, and that's the second part. And it's rising block over the head. So now we have 3 rising blocks going forwards. 1, 2, 3. All walking stance, nothing strange, nothing mad. The next one is Sang Palmok knife hand strike. We have this in Nihonjutsugi L stance. So we're pivoting counterclockwise, moving the back foot. I find sometimes when I'm teaching this, I find if you describe this as screw the ball of the foot, screw the ball of the front foot into the floor, that creates this turn, this pivot point for people to pivot around on. One of the mistakes we see a lot is preparing the hands too early. So the second they move, the hands are crossed and now they have to stop because we have to let the rest of the body catch up to the hands. So the hands move very fast, so we can take our time. And in this one, I always recommend people get the turn, and then as they're turned here, now you can prep. Now you can prep. So you don't need to prep early. So we're at the bottom of the sine wave here, down, and as we lift up, we can prep the hands here at the top of the sine wave, and now we can create the knife hand strike here. Bang, L stance. Again, it's side, sorry, it's not side, what am I talking about? It's knife hand strike, L stance, that's what I'm looking for. This L stance is a little bit gammy, should bend the back knee a bit more. It's, yeah, lazy. Anyway, here we go. Next one, high punch. Walking stance, high punch, like all the punches in this. We go clockwise across, knife hand strike, L stance, and then stepping forward, high punch, then going parallelity stance to start and to finish. Okay, so they're the kind of key talking points in Dan Gun. The hard parts, the bits that everyone struggle are the Sang Palmok Magki. Isolate it, do it in single movements by itself a couple of times, then bring it into the pattern. And the other part is the continuous motion. And what's counterintuitive is that when you make that rising block, your body is actually dropping. So you've gone down, up, and as you come down, your blocking hand is going up. So this kind of confuses people. A lot of people block as they come up, or they miss up the timing. So really, really hammer home that point of 1 inhale, 2 exhales, 2 full sine waves, down, up, down. The other part in this pattern that we didn't have in Chunji, because the diagram is different, we have the rotation, the counterclockwise rotation for the Sang Palmok Magki and the counterclockwise rotation for the Sang Palmok. Again, screw the ball of the foot into the floor, turn first, then create your prep at the top of the sine wave, then you can deliver the technique. If you prep the hands too early, your timing will be off, you'll lose rhythm, you lose power, you'll make life harder for yourself. So they're the kind of key things in that one that I can think of. If you see anything there that you think needs to be addressed or needs to be talked about, please leave comments or subscribe or whatever and all of that, and we'll go a little bit further. I hope people are getting value out of these kind of patterns, commentary videos. I don't pretend to be perfect, but I have a reasonable idea of what I'm talking about, I hope. So anyway, if you have anything there you want to add to it, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, cool. Thanks very much. We'll talk to you soon.